Good evening, fishing friends, and welcome to another episode. Now, tonight's video is for all you folks who love to find some really good deals on tackle. Unfortunately, my local Gander Outdoors is going out of business, but that's a good thing for me because everything in these bags was 50% off or more. So if you've got a Gander Outdoors near you, I'd recommend going to check it out and see if you can find some of these same deals. So as far as the stuff I picked up, well, I've picked up some new things to try out. I stocked up on some of my old favorites, and I picked up some stuff that I normally wouldn't get, but I figured at 50% off, why not? So enough yapping, let's take a closer look at what I got and why I got it. Starting with some of these big lures that you already got a glimpse of. So first off, we'll start with this. This is called the Long Shot. This is a 6-inch jerkbait. You can see there, pretty big jerkbait there. But I figured for some pike, some muskie, heck, maybe even get a bass on this. I don't know. I figured why not? I've never fished a jerkbait this large. I think that'll do good around the grass for some pike and muskie later. We'll see. Speaking of those big muskie lures, you got a little glimpse of this already. That's the Poseidon 10. This thing is a beast of a lure. Look at that. Compared to my hand, this thing is huge. I know they have a lot of luck on these, you know, for muskies. So I'm thinking muskie, pike. Let's give it a try. I've never fished one this big for them, so let's see how it does. Moving on from there, I did get some inlines. This is the first one. This is a large bucktail. Also seen on Elvis TV. I don't know what that means, but Joe Bucker, Boucher? I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but anyway, it's a big inline spinner, so you can see it's got the tinsel there on it. Pretty cool looking. The chartreuse blade there on it. Pretty neat looking little lure. So I figure for pike, muskie, maybe even some bass, who knows. Sticking with that inline spinner sort of thing, I got a smaller spinner. So I've got some of these larger cowgirls, double cowgirls. You can see here it's just simply an inline spinner. I'll take it out. I don't know how much it weighs. It doesn't have a weight on it, but you can see the two blades there. It's got the one treble hook in back and then kind of this tinsel-y type skirting material. So those flow around just like your regular inline spinner. We're going to give that a try. I bet this will be really good for some pike up here. So maybe get that baby out soon. Maybe, heck, who knows? Maybe catch a bass on that. Now, speaking of the bass lures, I did grab a couple swimbait type things. So this is the BBZ 160 Junior from Spro. So that's a 6-inch, I believe. This is the slow sink. 2 1/4 ounce, 6-inch swim bait. So I've heard of people using these. They're supposed to be pretty good. We'll see. I've never used this Spro kind, but they seem to be a pretty solid looking lure. So we're going to get that out and try it. That's in the trout pattern. See what it does. Now, staying with that Spro swim bait theme, I also got the BBZ1 shad. So I think this might do well in my local lake. My local lake has been down a lot, but I don't know. These shad profile baits, I bet will do pretty good there. It's full of them. I got one that's the floating version and one that's a slow sink. Pretty cool looking little things. There it is compared to the larger 6-inch. You can see how much smaller it is there. Just a little dude, but I think both of those are pretty cool. I'm excited to get on some more swimbait fish. Admittedly, I didn't fish them as much as I wanted to this year, but now's the perfect time. And finally, a little rat. I've never fished these rats before. Let's take it out. There it is, the Spro BBZ1 Rat 40. Pretty cool looking little lure, and that compared to the size of that shad, both about the same size. Interested to see how this little rat wake bait will do. You can see that the bill's almost straight up and down. You know, the more straight up and down it is, the more of just a wake type lure it is, so it's not really going to dive down. Now, last but not least, staying with that topwater theme, how about this thing? If you all like the Whopper Plopper, this is like a plopper on steroids. It's bigger than my hand. That is a musky topwater if I've ever seen one. So this one's kind of cool. It's got the two blades here that rotate around. I know a lot of the muskie guys say Whopper Plopper. That kind of stuff's been around forever for muskie fishing. Well, here you go, something like this. That thing does look really neat. Got the black and orange version there. So let's stay with the topwater theme, put this stuff away and get some other bass topwater. Starting out with the frogs. Yes, if y'all are new to my channel, I'm Debo and I love frog fishing. If you've been around the channel for some time, you've probably seen me throw a number of these frogs. Now, actually I'll start with these, the KVD popping perch. This is something I never tried before. I thought it was kind of gimmicky. The tail things back there look kind of silly. I'll take one out just to show you. But this has been the most productive frog that I used this year. So it goes to show you sometimes trying some new stuff can actually pay off. I don't know what it is about these, if it was the profile or what. And I didn't do anything to them. I didn't bend the hooks. I didn't trim this tail or anything. And they got smashed. I caught some really good fish on it and some turtles. But anyway, good little lure. So it's a little pop and perch there. This is kind of that sexy shad color. I also got this darker brown one. I like that color. I'd never seen this one before. So I grabbed one of these larger live target frogs. These are pretty cool. My man Carter had the opportunity to fish with him this year. Another nice gentleman here in Iowa that I met. What is this made out of? Anyway, he's a huge fan of these. So I picked up one of these. I remember he highly recommended them. Pretty large frog there. You can see, you know, a little bit wider body profile, a little bit larger up and down. So it's a good size looking meal there. Wanted to try that out, grabbed one of those. They didn't have really many colors left, but I grabbed that one. We'll see how that performs. Next, nothing new, some of the Spro Frogs. I like these. The popping and regular version, that 60 size, has done well in the past. Like $3 or something for these. So for $3, I figured why not for Spro Frogs. That's a good deal. They are a little bit more expensive frogs, but they are nice. Now this one I only got to use once. I didn't catch any fish on it. A turtle bit it and bit a hole in it, but this is the spit shad. So you can see here just a little bit different mouth shape, you know, than the normal cup there. It's kind of got almost like a V cup to it, you can see there. So kind of a neat little design. It does walk really easy, kind of a more finesse-y type splash to it. It's not a big, huge gurgle. It's more of just kind of a light spit. So you can see the tail there goes up and down more to mimic bait fish instead of a frog. So grabbed a couple of those. Staying with that popping topwater theme here, I grabbed a couple poppers that I've never used before. The old Rebel Pop R is probably my favorite popping lure of all time, but I can pop that thing open. We'll take a look at this. Cool little popping looking lure here from Rapala or Rapala. I don't know how the correct pronunciation is, but anyway, see there, kind of got just a little bit different twist on it. You can see there the body's shaped just a little bit differently. It's flat on the bottom, almost has a slight curve to it. So I think it's supposed to sit a little bit more like this in the water. Good cup mouth on it, so I'm sure that'll gurgle and plop pretty well. But I've never tried this one, so I figured for 60% off basically, I would give it a try. Now I have my old man was a Good Sam's member, so that's why I get a little extra off that 50%, and it's come in handy with this sale. I also got this is a 6th Sense 70, so that's the splashback, I think they call it. Yeah, splashback 3/8 ounce, and that is a beautiful looking popping lure. Look at the colors on that. Absolutely very cool, very natural bluegill pattern. It's got the dressed up treble hook there. Interested to see how this thing will do. Absolutely beautiful colors. Look at that compared to this. I didn't fish the popping lures as much this year as I wanted to, so I figured let's get a couple new ones. We'll try those next year and see how these do. Now, staying with those popping lures, this is kind of a cool one. This is the old Heddon. That's the poppin' image, so it reminds me of some of those cool old Heddons I have, those Bill Dance looking lures. Love those things back in the day. What were they, like the Excalibur shads, or I don't remember what they were called, but anyway, remind me of that. Colors on this thing look pretty cool. You can see there it's got kind of the purple on top. Kind of that shadish or yellow gizzard shadish kind of color to it. Sexy shad, I don't know what you want to call it, but pretty cool looking colors there. I will definitely change out those hooks. I'm not a fan of those bronze hooks, but pretty cool looking little bait. I figured why not? That was pretty cheap. I think that was like $2. Let's pick it up. Another topwater that I got was the big old KVD Sexy Dog. That's a larger topwater bait. You can see that compared to, like, for example, this. See how much bigger that one is there. Pretty large topwater walking lure. You know what they say, the bigger baits get the bigger bites. I can use all the help I can get catching bigger fish, so let's try that thing. Kind of in a chrome sexy shad. I figured that'd do pretty well. Kind of an interesting topwater that I have never ever seen before. Y'all have to comment below and let me know if you've ever seen this thing. This is called the old Buzz Plug. I don't know what to think of this thing. They say it can, well, let's see, what do they say? Unique floating weedless buzz bait. Buzzing blade lifts out of the water when paused to present a frog profile. Perfect for all types of water, popper tree, I don't know. Anyway, this thing is a very unique looking little lure. You can see there it's kind of got like the curved back thing going on. It's got just the twin hooks back here. It's not a treble. So that would lead to, you know, allowing it to roll up and over stuff more. It's got that buzz bait type blade on the front there. Interesting. I didn't know what to think about this thing, but I saw it and thought, man, that thing looks pretty cool. We need to try it. So the Arbogast Buzz Plug. Next up, I got another kind of waking bait. I'd never seen this thing before either. It's a bomber jointed wake minnow. You know, I've of course seen the Rapala little jointed minnows. This thing I've never seen before. So this is supposed to wake more of like a topwater lure. 3/4 ounce surface lure, it says there. So I don't know. We'll try this thing. I could see the pike smashing that pretty well too. That was the last color they had. So for, you know, $3 or whatever I got it for, why not? Let's try it. Something else that I hadn't seen before that I thought, well, might be kind of a cool pike lure, the Jawbreaker weedless spoon. I mean, the bass would certainly hit that as well. You can see on the bottom side, it's meant to mimic like a shad or a minnow up on top. And I guess you just kind of reel it up over the reeds and that kind of stuff. Pop it open here, take a look at it. It's got one hook on it on the back, almost like a spoon on its side. It's got the weedless fluorocarbon things there. That hook's super sharp. But it's got those there that's supposed to deflect, you know, any sort of weeds or anything. That's what the fish are going to see when you're reeling it up over stuff. Kind of that reflecty baitfish profile. That's from Creek Chub. I guess that's the name of the company. I don't know. They call it the Knucklehead. Now, it's a pretty cool design because you can see it's almost two lures in one. So you can see when you walk this lure, the head here is kind of like a jointed swim bait. That'll click against it. And it's got the popping mouth thing there. So I think this is actually more of a saltwater lure. but I figured why not? I could see some bass, pike, maybe even muskie, anything smashing that thing. It's got a cool reflection on it. That head kind of pivots and moves, so I could see some really cool action out of this. Figured why not? Never seen it. Let's try it. So let's put this stuff away and look at some of the bladed lures that I got. Okay, the bladed baits. Well, we'll start out with the things that I really just got to replenish. A couple of these Strike King spinner baits. I really like these. These are similar to the ones that you've seen me throwing. They already have the trailer hook on there. The skirt is a little bit longer to mimic the trailer, you know, a soft plastic. So you don't need to do anything with these. You don't need to put anything on it. I fish them stock just like this. So grabbed a couple of these that have the painted blades. They have done really well in my lake, so stocked up on those. Same thing for the War Eagle spinnerbaits. I really just got kind of some different colors just to see if anything will hit them. Some of, you know, the stuff that I liked before, just kind of that shad type color. But things like this is kind of a purple yellow. I don't know, kind of like a shad, I guess, threadfin type thing. Kind of a sexy shad color here. I've used that color before and like it. Grabbed a couple of those. Pink spinnerbait. I think I'm gonna have to break that out and see if any of these fall bass will like eating a pink spinnerbait. 5/16 ounce. That's what it looks like up close. Pretty neat. It's got kind of a thin skirt on it, but put a little trailer hook on there and it should do pretty well. It's kind of got that turtle shell shaped blade. For my man Gizmo, I did find one. They had only one remaining of the Terminator titanium spinnerbaits. Let's give that baby a try. I've heard a lot of good talk about these. I've used some of the other ones, but we'll see how this one does. It's a pretty good shad profile. The jackhammer. Yes, of course, the jackhammer. I grabbed one of each of these, one in the white chartreuse, one in the black and blue. You did see me have some good success on that not too long ago, but unfortunately used it for a day and lost it. So I haven't broke this one out. Kind of scared to lose it, but they work. They work. They've got some good components on them. The question is, does the regular chatterbait work as well as these? I don't know. I grabbed another one of these. I was a little disappointed with the Booyah Melee. I had one, took it out. It worked really well. Seemed like a cool lure. They don't like vegetation though. If you get any vegetation up in this blade, they don't like that. The other one I got was a color just like this back before, and I tried it and it just kept rolling. No matter what type of trailer I put it on there, if I reeled it really, really slow, I didn't have issues with it, but I mean creeping it. As soon as I started to put any speed behind it, it would roll. So comment below and let me know if you all have had any of those issues. I don't know. I got another one to try. We'll see if this one works. And finally, talking about spinning things, the underspin, a spin jig. This is the VMC version. Right now is a perfect time to throw the underspin. I grabbed a couple of these in 3/8 ounce, put some paddle tails on them. Give those a try. So let's move on. Talk about things that have treble hooks on them. Ah, yes, the old crankbaits. Fall is a perfect time to throw the crankbait. A lot of the vegetation, if you're like me and have a lot of lakes and ponds with vegetation, a lot of that's dying off now. So the fish are chasing bait fish. These are some awesome lures to throw. So grabbed a couple of the bandit lures, the 100, which dives a little shallower, and then the 200, which goes a little bit deeper. 2 to 5 feet versus 4 to 8 feet. Good looking little cranks, and I don't remember them coming this way, but it looks like they come with some nice, it doesn't say they're KVD triple grips, but some nice little EWG hooks on there that you don't need to change out. So grabbing those have worked very well for me in the past. I got a couple DT4s and DT6s, so you know, basically 60% off for those. I couldn't resist. Grabbed a couple of those. Of course, the DT4 indicates it dives to 4 feet. DT6 indicates that it dives to 6 feet. And these are balsa lures, so they float really well. When you get them, you know, hung up in rocks and stuff, they want to come up out of that pretty easy. So grabbed a square bill. This is the Berkley Pit Bull. Used one of these earlier this year and I was kind of surprised with it. I liked it. It's got a little different sound to it. It bounced off stuff pretty well. Pretty neat little lures. I like how it went. You know, this one dives to what, 5.5 feet, they say. It's floating, so of course if you get it, you know, kind of stuck in stuff, you can pop it and it should float up out of that. But square bill is perfect to bang off of rocks and brush this time of year. They will get 8. Get 8? Be 8? Be eaten? I don't know. Honestly, a lot of this stuff was just replenishing my supply. Unfortunately, I do a lot of bank fishing, and as you bank anglers know, you can lose a lot of crankbaits. So this is no surprise to you. The rattle trap, that's the Bill Lewis original. That's why a lot of people even call lipless crankbaits a rattle trap. You know, I think these kind of set the bar for a long time. So they come with good hooks on them. They already come with the Mustad triple grips on them. You don't need to change out. So I just grabbed some more colors of those. Same thing with the red eye shad. I've never used the tungsten 2-tap, so I grabbed a couple of those. It's got a different sound to it. It's more of a knocking sound to it as opposed to the kind of tinny, the BBs. Of course, the red eye shads are standard. I grabbed some 1/2 ounce and then some of the smaller 1/4 ounce. I've always had good luck on those too. Something a little different are the Booyah, the hard knocker and one knocker. I also did use a red one of these this year. Kind of that same knocking sound as opposed to the BB type sound, but those are kind of cool, interesting little colors. I figured why not? We'll try them out. Purple and pink. Let's give it a try. One of my favorites is the Cotton Cordell Super Spot. These things are cheap. I think I got these for like $1 basically each one. So I grabbed a handful of these, but they're cheap. You do want to change out the hooks on them. I do not like the hooks that come stock. They work. They have a good sound, and if you get them hung up for $1, you can afford to do that and not completely want to cry. Some of the other Berkley stuff, I've never tried these before. My buddy Brady really likes the War Pigs. I know he's had a day where he caught, I don't know, 20-some fish on one of these. So I got a couple of these colors, kind of that, you know, pumpkin seed, green sunfish, you know, orangish greenfish type color, and then kind of a sexy shadish with a little bit of chartreuse on it. So the colors look really good. So got some of those to try. I've never used these before. They only had this kind of clearish color look to it. Akuru shad, size 60. I don't know, never used them. Pretty cool looking little lures. I figured I'll give that a try. It is jerkbait season now. Start off with these. These are the little Yozuri pin minnows. I know a lot of people have luck with these for trout. They're kind of pricey. That's honestly why I've never got them. I lose stuff so quickly, but I figured, you know what, basically half off. I figured at $3 a piece, I might as well give those guys a try. See if I can get some trout. I know they are going to be stocking trout soon, so we're going to do some of that. I grabbed some of their jerk baits. I have not used these either. These are the cutters. I've got a shallow there. That only goes 3 to 5 feet. Perfect for ponds, kind of in that bluegillish sort of minnow color. Have the ones that dive a little bit deeper, so the 110 plus, that dives 3 to 6 feet, so just a tad deeper. And finally the juke, so that's your lot shallow diver, 2 to 4 feet. This one does float up though, so pretty cool looking profile on that, almost like a little shad. Get these out soon without water cooling down. These suspending jerkbaits can be absolutely killer in that cold water. Again, the Rebel Joint a Minnow, I talked about that earlier. I've used those a lot, but they had that was the last one, so I grabbed it. And then the Smithwick, I've never used any of their jerkbaits, but these dive just a little bit deeper. 6 to 8, as you can see there. That's a 4.5-inch lure with the 3 trebles. So figured why not? If I get out to fish the rivers, maybe give that a try and see if we can find some fish on that. They do come with the Gamakatsu hooks, so you know they're going to be good and sharp. Let's move on to the soft plastics. Never use these. You don't put these on a hook. You fish them just like a weightless swim bait or something on top. It's got that plopping tail action. Might as well take one out to show you. There you can see it's got the large legs. You break these pieces off here. These little legs here, it's got that, you know, the rage tail design where it's got the cup, you know, kind of like the pinchers on the craws. So those catch and those legs, you know, do the flopping, plopping and back. Kind of gives it more of a finesse plop back there instead of, you know, something big like a buzz bait and crazy. So it's nice because you can rig them weedless, throw them up over grass and stuff. So got some of those to try. Strike King Rage Toad. Over to something else that I've never tried. Again, Tackle Junkie recommends these. I've never used any of the Biospawn stuff, so I got some of the Vile Craws. These are nothing new, but got some of those to try, as well as some of these, the little smaller plasma tails. So you can see there, those are like, what, 4.5 inches, I think? Something like that. I don't know. It doesn't say the size on it, but this is the smaller size of them. So try some of those for some drop shot here. Pretty cool looking little lures. And then the Vile Cross. So got those to try. The Guggen baits. Now they had these for like basically 2 something a pack. So I grabbed a number of these. Got some of the Bandito bugs. Have not used those yet. Got the Bama bug color there. Blue baby color, and then the Morning Dawn. So those are the drag and drop, also something new that I've never tried. You know, similar to a robo worm. We'll grab one of these to look at them. Pretty cool looking lure there. How long is that? 3, 4-ish inches, maybe 4.5 inches, but pretty cool. It's got kind of that purple on the bottom, pink on top, that, you know, pretty typical Morning Dawn color. So I think that'll be pretty good on either a shaky head or drop shot. And the Bandito bug here, y'all have probably already seen these. I know they're all over everywhere. People like them, but you break all those apart and they do have a whole bunch of action to them. Those little legs and stuff kick on there. I've used the Trench Hog and I do like it. They make good baits. The durability of them is not the best. If you pay regular price, $6 is kind of expensive for a pack of soft plastics, but I know the Strike King stuff can be kind of around the same price, so it's really just up to you and what you like. But those are the Bandito bugs. Cool. They are full of salt, so they don't last that long. You know, 1 or 2 fish oftentimes for me, I've noticed, but they definitely do catch fish and they got good action. Moving on from there, some other Z-Man stuff. I have not got to use these yet. These are the Trick Shots. That's in the Meat Dog color. These are supposed to be a very good little drop shot lure and, you know, extremely durable like all the Z-Man stuff. You know, you can take one of these and completely stretch it way out. Doesn't rip, but those are supposed to go pretty well on a drop shot. So might try some of those for some smallmouth here soon. Also with the Z-Man, the TRD Hogs. Just a little bit different look from it. You can see there it's got kind of the little kicky legs on it there, kind of a green pumpkin California craw, almost looking color. What do they call this? Canada craw, similar, but pretty interesting little lure. I like that it's got the little legs and stuff on there. So again, for smallmouth or when that water's cooling down, you want to drop down to finesse. Put one of these on a little Ned rig head, and I think that'll do pretty well. Again, that super durable Elastec plastic. I also grabbed some swim baits. This is just really restocking on some stuff. I've never used these little small 3-inch easy shiners, but I thought again on a drop shot or something, we'll try those. The 2.8-inch Kitex, I've had those before, nothing new, just restocking. Same thing for the little Rage swimmers. And then of course, probably my all-time favorite paddle tail is the Skinny Dipper or the Little Dipper. That's just the littler version of this, but these are for the chatterbaits. These are the Zaccos. I've had a lot of people ask about those. I just tried them recently this year, and I'm a big fan. You can see here they've got some really good colors on them. Look at that. They call that like electric shad. Yeah, electric shad. Very cool colors in there that catch the light. It's a segmented lure, so you can see there. So on the back of the chatterbait, this doesn't have its own action to it. The chatterbait, it works directly with it. So, you know, sometimes if you put a paddle tail or something real bulky on a chatterbait, it can kind of mess it up. But I've had a lot of luck with those. I like them. All right, let's close it out. I think I've got some jigs and spinners to look at. Starting with the jigs. Now, these are some of the dirty jigs. I've never used these before, but they had those marked way down. I think $1 something for each one of these, or $2, something like that. Figure why not? Let's give these a try. Kind of a little finesse style type jig. I'll take one out here. There we go. A little different than your larger jigs. Trim the back of this off, and finesse jigs can be amazing in the fall like this. So the head of that's really cool. You can see there the line tie is kind of recessed down into the head of it. So as you're dragging this over rocks and stuff, it doesn't have the line tie sticking out. It's supposed to help cover that up a little bit more, but good super sharp hooks on them. Like that profile and the color of those. So grabbed a couple of those different colors, the dirty jigs. These you've seen before, nothing crazy or new, but those are the Shroom Finesse jigs from Z-Man. Put a little TRD or a TRD craw, or even those TRD hogs on the back of here. If you're someone who doesn't like using jigs, they look too big and crazy, look at that. That is just a very small finesse jig profile, and they get bit. So those again, the Shroom's Micro Finesse jigs from Z-Man. And finally, the jig that my man Randizzle got me turned on to. I even call it the Randizzle rig now. These War Eagle heavy finesse jigs. This has been his confidence lure for I don't know how long, but that dude slays on these things. I've had days where I struggle to get a bite, and he is still catching fish on these jigs. So grabbed a few different colors. We're going to try these out. I'm probably going to fish this pretty soon in the cold water. Fishing a smaller finesse jig like this around the rocks can be very, very productive. So we'll get these out and work those. And last but not least, some different inline spinners and spoons and things. I just kind of put these in a pile because I figured like for trout or panfish and stuff, these are not spinners, but got some of these things, little tiny deals. Little micro head and torpedo. Those are pretty cool. I used to throw those back in the day. Not one this small, but figured why not? I've never seen that one before. A little tiny micro crawfish. I bet the panfish will eat that. Maybe trout. I don't know. And the little micro popper. I've never seen this either. And these come with barbless hooks. I've never used barbless hooks, so we'll see how those do. But little tiny popper. I figured that'd be fun to try next summer. So we'll see how those do. Of course, my all-time favorite inline spinner ever, the rooster tail. I didn't think there was anything else for the longest time, but grabbed a couple of these. Some of them have the little treble hook, and some of them come with the little single hook. So for some trout coming up, or maybe some more panfish. Next up are the Lunkerhunt micro spoons. And my man Jimmy Lee over at Raw Fishing recommended these. Said they do really well for trout or something similar to this. He said to try these. So he's been nice enough to give me some tips and pointers. And also, if you're looking for good trout videos, make sure you check out Alex over at Realistic Fishing. He's got some really good videos on trout. It's something I don't do, so I watched a bunch of his stuff, binged on that for this year. I'm going to be doing some more trout fishing. So he did a cool one where he had like a bobber and I don't remember what was on it, a worm. Trying to catch the trout that way, he couldn't get it. He switched to a bottom bouncing rig, started catching them. So that was something I wondered from last year. So I appreciate those guys, Jimmy Lee over at Raw Fishing and Alex over at Realistic Fishing. They both have really good channels. Make sure you check them out. I got a little Tingler spoon. I don't know what to think of that thing. We'll try it. It's got that Ultra Glow UV bright stuff on it. I don't know. Maybe trout will like that. Maybe it glows in the dark. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. Try that. And then some of these little Johnson spoons. That was a 3-pack. So for basically $1 something, I got 3 of those. We'll give those a try. Oh, splinter spoons, what they call it. Bet these are popular amongst the Ninja Turtles. And finally, last is a Rooster Tail All-Star Pack. I don't know. This thing was pretty cool. Basically $6. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different Rooster Tails in those for $1 a piece. I thought, yeah, why not? Let's try it. Maybe do a challenge with this on some trout or some panfish. Pretty cool looking little thing there. It's nice too. I can throw all my rooster tails in there, so I got kind of the little free box deal with it. All those are in 1/8 ounce, so we'll see how that does. But that's it. That's going to do it for the night. Comment below and make sure you let me know what you want to see most. You want to see some trout fishing with this stuff? You want to see some winter jig fishing? Unfortunately, I think the topwater and frogging is over for the year, but swim baits, all that kind of stuff, I think we still have a few weeks left here before we get really cold. I think we're supposed to have snow here next week, so that does not make me happy. But please comment below and let me know what you're most excited to see and want me to fish the most. That's it. It is late. I've got to get to bed tonight, so of course, I thank you all for watching. And especially you, Luke Barnes. Tonight's subscribe, fishing friend shout out goes to Luke Barnes. I know you said you'd support my videos. Whether I gave you a shout out or not, well, sir, you are always commenting, always leaving good feedback in the comments below, so I wanted to thank you for watching. And, of course, thank you everybody else who watches these videos, supports my channel. I truly do appreciate it. But, again, it's late. I got to get to bed, so thanks for watching, and until next time.